right, students, so Chapter 12, Lesson 4, Shape of Distributions. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at graphs, and we're going to trace the outside of the graph, and we're going to look at the shape. So there's lots of different shapes, but there's three I'm going to concentrate on. Okay, so the three would be, so the first one is called symmetric or symmetrical. So symmetric, most of the time it's going to be bell-shaped. But what I want you to know is that the left side data should match or be close to, like in terms of its size, should match the right side. Think of it like a mirror image. So we're going to draw one, okay? So I'm going to draw a histogram, make it easy. So here's the middle, right? So let's say this bar goes here, and this one's pretty close, it goes here. And on this side, this one goes here, and this one goes here. So when I trace it, so I want you to trace the outside. Write that in your notes. Trace the outside. And remember, pause the video if you need to. So when you trace the outside, notice that this one's bell-shaped. And also that when you look at it, this side is pretty close to this side. They would say it's this side is pretty close to this side. If I were to look at this in a dot plot, so let's do a dot plot. In a dot plot, basically it would look something like this, where the dots on each side would match each other or be pretty close, right? So that's what it would look like if we were to look at it with a dot plot. In a box plot, all of the boxes would be the same. Like the distance from here to here would match the distance from here to here. And this whisker, so this size would have to be the same size here. And the whisker here would have to be the same as this. So this is where the whiskers are the same. They're the same length. I'll use L for length. And the width of the box are the same. Of each side of the box is the same. Okay, pause the video if you need to. So that's symmetric. Okay. Now, we also have types of graphs which are called skewed. It could be skewed left, or it could be skewed right. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Skewed left or skewed right. Okay, so basically, if I were to draw this time I'm going to do a dot plot, okay? If I had, let's say, one dot here, a couple dots here, another one here, and then I had some other dots that went way high up on the right-hand side. Okay, let's say this went like that. All right, you can see what it is. All right, so when I trace the outside of it, I want you to notice it has a hump on one side. It's heavy with data on this side. And notice it tails off on the left. Because the tail is on the left, we say it's skewed left. Okay, I'll do one with a, I'm going to do one with a box plot too in a minute. So if I drew this, so most of the numbers are going to be closer together here, but then the boxes on this side would have to be a lot more spread out, right? So notice it's more spread out on the left side. Where it's more concentrated, or they're all closer together here. So when you're looking at a box plot, you got to look at the spread. Okay. okay, versus skewed right. I'm going to do this one with a histogram, okay? In skewed right, you have a lot of the data on the left-hand side, but then it tapers down to the right-hand side. So when I look at this and I trace it, I think tracing is the best way to do it. Notice that the tail is on the right. The data tails off on the right. So you have this big hump on the left, and then it tails down. If I were to look at this at a histogram, it would be exactly opposite of this. I would have like the data really close together with the boxes really close together on this side versus much more spread out on the right-hand side. And that's, so like on this one, you could see it's more spread out on the right. Okay. Now there are a couple other vocabulary words that are important, so I have to go to the back because I write kind of big. If you need to pause, you pause the video and make sure you finish this. But there's some other vocabulary words that I want to make sure that we talk about. Okay, so vocab. So let's first talk about peak or peaks. It's where most of the data is. It's the tallest bar, or it's the tallest in terms of the dots or X's. So think of that like the mode, right? Clusters are where they're grouped together. One of my favorite candies is called a nut cluster, and what it is it's caramel and it's nuts, and then they dip it in chocolate. Oh, it's yummy. Clustered, they call them clusters because they're all grouped together. It's where the data is grouped. They're hanging out. They're clustered together. Think of them like a clique, right? They're grouped together. So we have peaks, we have clusters. We're going to have gaps, gap or gaps. Gaps is where there's no data. And there's no data because nobody had any of whatever that amount is. So where there is no data. No data. There's a famous football player. His name is Michael Strahan. And if you guys follow football, he has a big gap in between his two front teeth. That means that's where he has a space. There's also a famous actress, Lauren Hutton, and she has a big gap in between her teeth. She's beautiful, but she has this big gap, and that's sort of like their trademark. So that's how you can remember gaps. And then the outlier, of course, we've talked about once before. An outlier is a number or numbers that are too high or too low compared to all the other data. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll put a little asterisk for an outlier. Sometimes you'll see that, especially on a dot plot, or sometimes even in a box plot they'll do that. They'll indicate the little star or the asterisk as an outlier. Sometimes you'll see that little asterisk. And remember I said to you, next year you'll learn the mathematical way of actually calculating the outlier. This year you just need to know that it's too high or too low compared to the other data. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just do some examples and look at some graphs and determine, are they skewed left, skewed right, look for the peaks, the clusters, the gaps, and the outliers. So I'm going to go to the textbook. And you could pause the video as soon as you, if you want to. All right, so I'm just showing you a graphic here again. So this is symmetric. I just want to remind you about the shape. It could be skewed left. Now remember, it's skewed left. If you got a hump and then it tails out, think about where the tail is. If the tail is on the left, it's skewed left. If it tails down and the tail is on the right, we call it skewed right. Bell-shaped, right, left side matches right. All right, so let's look at some examples. All right. Here we go. All right, let's look at example 1. All right, so they gave us this graph, and it shows the temperatures in Fahrenheit in a city, and they want us to describe the shape. All right, so when I see this, I see a bunch of things. So first of all, I see this, and then I see it tailing down a little bit. So I would say that this is skewed, and it tails down on the left. It looks like we have a gap, and the gap is in between 19 to 21, right? We also have clusters. The clusters, let me erase this part because I think I just sort of wrote over it. Okay. So the clusters are where they're grouped together. So we have a cluster between 16 to 18, and then we have another group that's together. That's between 22 to 25. And is there a peak? Yep, our peak is here. It's where it's the tallest. It's at 22. So that's how you describe a distribution or the shape of a graph using some examples. So let's do a couple more out of your workbook. All right, now this time they give us a box and whisker plot. So with this box and whisker plot, I look at the whiskers. All right, so this whisker matches this whisker. This box width matches this box width. So to me, this is symmetric. Now, as we look at this, we can't tell the peak. We can't tell all we can do in this example, we can tell what the median is. So the median's here, right? It's at 50. We can find the range. We can find out how spread out it is. It's your high, 90, right? Minus your low, 10, which is 80. And we can also find out the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1, which measures the spread of the middle 50%. So that would be 70 take away 30, which is 40. So here's an example where it's symmetric. All right. All right, let's look at the got it problem on the bottom of the page. Okay, so I guess I should find the page for you, huh? Your teacher will help you figure out what page that is. I don't have it in front of me, but so what we have to do is we have to describe the graph. They want us to identify the clusters, the gaps, the peaks, etc. So here we go. All right, so when I look at this, I'm going to trace it, right? So when I trace it, it looks like it tails off here. So this would be skewed right because the tail is on the right. We see that there is a peak. The peak is between, if you read down here, it looks like from 1 minute to 2:30. And it looks like it's all clustered together, aren't they? There are no outliers. Nope, we don't see any. It's not obvious. And do we see a gap? No, there's no gap. If we saw a gap, there would be a break in data. So that's how you take a distribution and you look at it. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit more work in terms of determining, looking at the shape, what's the best measure of center and best measure of variance.